Welcome to another edition of the Postgame Wrap. I'm Jared Johnson, and 76-62, Texas Tech defeated DePaul to move to 7-1 on the season. DePaul was previously unbeaten, though they hadn't played a lot of tough competition. And, it was interesting the way the game played out. First off, no JT Toppin, which I didn't know going into the game. Apparently, he could have gone if it was a must-win game. But he kind of came down wrong. Coach McCaslin said after the game during practice it was a non-contact deal. Kind of tweaked his knee, but he is expected to play in the next game against A&M. So that's good. But for this game, you're without your leading scorer and rebounder. I believe the top rebounder in the Big 12. For all intents and purposes, looking like a first-team all Big 12 performer. Your best player on your team, just bottom line. And just a highly impactful player on both ends of the court. So, whoa, that's going to be a problem. But the Red Raiders opened up the game on a huge run. I think it was 12 or 14-0, something like that. DePaul would come back, made a ton of threes. I forgot his name off the top of my head, but they had that point guard who was really making things happen for them. Penetrating the lane, kicking out, and finding open guys. And they were really big screen and roll and 5-out offense. And they were knocking down threes, and they actually took a lead in the first half. And it looked kind of iffy, but Texas Tech really turned up the defense in the second half. I thought Mighty Joe said it as only Mighty Joe could say in terms of the way he laid it out for the way Texas Tech really turned on the defensive intensity on the perimeter. And that was a difference in the game. And that's why the Red Raiders, though there was a little dip, DePaul, of course, made another little run later in the second half. Texas Tech handled its business and got a nice victory there over DePaul. They're a well-coached team, retooled team on the fly. It's like I guess everybody else is nowadays. But they're going to be a pretty good team this year, I believe. Not great or anything, but a pretty good team. Some interesting individual performances that I really like. Chance McMillan, I think, is just a very good player, all around, really good offensive scoring threat. Especially when you consider he's probably like your number 3 on the team behind JT Toppin and Darion Williams, who also had a good game again, as he seemingly always does. But Chance, I think he finished with a game high 22 points. It was more aggressive with JT not being out there, and Tech needed him to be, and he stepped up to the plate. Federico stepped in the starting lineup for JT and had a pretty good game. I think he had 8 points, 5 rebounds. He's not going to duplicate what JT does. But I think he did some good things, and Tech was able to win with him playing like that. Emily Yalaho also stepped in and had his best game of the year. He missed a lot of several of the first games, but got more run. And I remember he made a big 3 and, played well. So that was good. Like I said, Darion Williams was good. Christian Anderson had some good minutes. Kevin Overton has been much better the last couple of games. He's settling into his role, and he's going to be more of an offensive threat than what I originally thought. He's doing some really nice things, and I'm really happy to see that. I think that could be a big thing for Texas Tech. Elijah Hawkins, he had 5 assists, 4 steals. Those steals were big. I think he was part of that better defensive play in the second half on the perimeter. So that was good. Trying to think about what else about this game that really stood out to me. I think overall it was just a strong performance, especially being shorthanded. Speaking of being shorthanded, looks like Devin Cambridge, I'm not sure exactly the nature of what's going on. I really don't know. I've been pretty preoccupied with a lot of stuff with the football program. But I do know Mighty Joe asked Coach again after the game, and against DePaul, and he basically said he loves Devin Cambridge, and that it looks like it's a wait and see, like what's going to happen in terms of some choices being made. But I think there's a good chance that Cambridge doesn't play again for Texas Tech, but it's not. I don't know that for sure. That's just reading the tea leaves, just like anybody else. So we'll have to see what happens there. And I think that would be a loss. It wouldn't be a ginormous loss, but they could use Devin Cambridge. And I don't know, like I said, the situation behind the scenes. But, it seems like poor Devin Cambridge, came here, was really excited, had a good start to last year, got hurt, missed a lot of the season, Looked like he was going to leave, but then I think he even entered the transfer portal, if I'm not mistaken, or he was going to, or whatever that negotiation was. And then he came back and looked like he was going to be a key role player, and that may be the problem. I don't know, but there was definitely a role. There is a role for him to play on this team this year, but it's just not a starring role, a marquee role, that's for sure. So, oh well. I feel like you're going to lose at least one or two, at least role players, or there's going to be some kind of drama. On the scale of Red Raider basketball drama the last decade or even 5 years, it's barely even. It's maybe a one or two, to be honest. But it is noteworthy, and that's something McCaslin said that he will address. There'll be some kind of announcement coming up soon, or press release or something. So we'll see what happens there, and we'll have that on Inside the Red Raiders for you. But really nice victory for Texas Tech. Like I said, moved to 7-1, and got some big games coming up now. It's about to get real for Texas Tech coming up very soon. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.